Bad Dad Nomad. This is a simple routine that you can use every single practice, and your players are not only going to improve in their skills and abilities, but they're going to be better at doing the practice, because since they see the pattern of practice, they're actually going to get better at the practice, and their skills are going to get better. So it's a two for one of why it's effective. This is taken from Coach Doug Nevins, who was former Gatorade Coach of the Year out of West Orange, New Jersey, and I believe he still coaches there to this day. There is a lot of great answers in the comments, but no one laid down a format for you. So this format you can follow, and it's the most fundamental, essential things that you need to do every practice to win games. It's possession, finishing on goal, crossing and finishing, and then playing to big goals on a small field with your team split up into three. Team sitting out surrounds the field with one touch. Players have one touch as neutral players. So one more time, you do this every single practice. Right, a lot of coaches, they crave novelty. They're always looking for the next new drill. But why this was so effective is because it's so simple, it's easy to learn, which means it's easy to teach, and you can really be certain in this routine because it's just super simple and super effective. So one more time, possession, finishing on goal, crossing and finishing, and then playing to big goals on a small field. So possession, simple possession game. You want to have the area be a bit smaller, right? It's not meant to be a cardiovascular endurance drill, but if you don't let players have a water break and just tell them, go get water whenever you need it, right? Don't stop. The endurance is built into the training routine. Whenever they need a bathroom break or water break, just say go get it. Don't even ask, but don't pause for water. That's what Doug Nevins did. Coach Nevins did it, and I like that. So possession, right? You could say 4 passes scores a point, first team to 5 wins. And what you could start to do at higher levels is start to limit the touch count. So you could say first it's unlimited touch, and then as they, that becomes too easy, you say, okay, now it's 2 touch. You only have 2 touches with 1 on the takeover. 1 on the takeover means when one team takes it over from the other team, right? One team gains possession from the other team, they have a +1 touch. So actually they'll have 3 touches total for that the first time they get the ball away from the other team, maybe an interception, or there's a scuffle, a skirmish for a battle for the ball. Someone comes away with it. Now they have 3 touches to get the ball to their other team and then connect passes. And then you want to have each team call out a pass when it's connected. So let's say you have pennies versus shirts. So pennies, they call out 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll see players will try and call out. Sometimes if it's unsure whether or not they connected the pass, one team will try and say they connected the pass, while the other team will say no, it didn't count. So this is just a fun, right? The whole game of soccer, it's a whole game of 1v1s and keeping possession, right? You want to try to keep the possession on the other team's side of the field and just pepper their goal with shots, right? More shots on goal, more goals scored in theory. So possession leads right into finishing on goal. Finishing on goal, you take 10 steps beyond the 18. Everyone's got a ball. No whistle, rapid fire, low, hard-driven balls, right? Players dribble as fast as they can to the goal, finish on the side netting. Doug would call this Slotsville, low, hard-driven balls on the ground. And you want to tell the players, make the keeper make a save, right? If they're not even hitting the frame of the goal, that's a free save that the keeper didn't earn. So tell your players, make the keeper make a save. And sometimes this drill can be psychologically taxing on goalkeepers. So you could suggest to them, say Tommy or Tracy, whoever, just say pop in and out of goal, whatever you want. Or if you don't have a keeper, you don't need one. You could put cones down, so you tell players aim create a gate that it's a tight window, right? Aim small. What's the quote? It's like aim small. If you have a small aim, then the area that you're going to usually hit, it's going to be better if you aim in a large area, and then, right. So the more precise you're focused, in theory, the more accurate you're gonna be on goal. And then what Doug Nevins would do is he would stand, right. He would stand so he'd stand 10 paces from the top of the 18, and he would do what you would practice volleys. He would call it Volleysville. So players would now hand him the ball, and then they would turn around so that their backs to the goal. And Coach Nevins would be facing the goal, and he'd throw the ball over the player's head. The player would spin around, one touch, finish on goal, right? Run that ball down, and then so the ball bounces once, the ball's still in the air, and then they snap, finish right on goal, Volleysville. So you could say this, so maybe 10 minutes of Slotsville, 5 minutes of Volleysville, or break it up, maybe 7 and 7 or whatever. But maybe, right, in games there's more, I would say, more opportunities to finish on goal on the ground. And when you start drilling that high repetition, right, everyone should be able to get through the line, depending on your team size, 3 to 4 to 5 times, rapid fire. And then you go right into crossing and finishing. 2 crossing lines, starting at the halfway line, 2 finishing lines that are parallel. Right, you have your semicircle lines. The center lines start on either side of that semicircle, and then you have your 2 crossing lines that are slightly in front of the halfway line. So right side crossing line goes first. They dribble up, slightly curved run towards the goal, and you want a slightly curved run because it makes it easier for them to cross the ball in. The 2 middle lines go with them, slightly trailing, and then finish on goal, right? They make an X, and then they finish on goal, 1 touch. And then, right, no whistle, left sideline goes. Dribble up the sideline, slightly curved run, finish, cross the ball in, same thing. Players in the middle, they're slightly trailing, they crisscross their run, finish on goal. And then you might need, if you don't have a backstop behind your goal, you might need to reset the balls to the winger, to the crossing lines, because balls will either go into the net or they'll go beyond the net if they miss the net or they'll be the backstop. So you might need to redistribute the balls to the crossing lines 2 or 3 times for this drill. Right? So you call that 15 minutes, and then boom, you go right into playing to big goals on a small field with the team that's sitting out as playing as neutral players with 1 touch. And why this is so important that you split the team up into 3 is because if you only have 2 teams playing against each other and someone scores a goal, there's nothing gained and there's nothing lost. But if you have 3 teams playing King of the Hill style, players who love to play, and they hate to lose. So they'll never want to, right? It becomes a ratchet. It's a status game because it's the team who can stay on the longest. It's bragging rights. You try and knock all the other teams off, and you try and stay King of the Hill, right? You want to be King of the Hill for as long as possible. So it really raises the end and the intensity. There's a lot of goals scored, right? The field should be small enough where there'll be a goal scored every 2 to 3 minutes. If goals are taking 4 to 5 to 6 minutes to get a goal scored, your field is too big. Right? If someone makes a good move, if there's a good spell of passing, or if someone loses their mark, goals should be rapid fire. And what this really helps is rapid transitions from offense to defense and defense to offense. And it's going to translate right into the game, because not only is it going to raise your team intensity level and competitiveness, but when you go to gameplay and you're playing in games, you're going to get possession of the ball while defending, and then you're going to notice your team's just going to start to operate with a high level of effectiveness and efficiency. The ball's just going to get swung to the sideline, or they're just going to play balls into players' feet, and they're going to beeline right to the goal and start lighting the other team up. So that's the goal, to have them operate through intuition, right? Because each step is important and essential. You got to finish on goal. You got to keep the ball, ideally in the other team's half. You got to finish on goal. You got to cross and finish on goal, and then you got to be able to transition rapidly from offense to defense. So that's the whole routine. And if you're if you don't have access to big goals for this final game, you could make small gates with cones, set it up so right, the gates aren't right next to each other. You want them far apart on this small field, so that it forces, if one team who's defending the small gates, if they jam one side up, it'll force teams to switch the point of attack to the other side to try and get that other gate when there's lower number of defenders, and you could create 2v1, 3v1, 3v2 opportunities, things like that. And if you've got no keepers, then you could just do sweeper keepers, right? You could do the last person defending can use their hands. You can, if you have odd numbers, you can have one person play as neutral for all the teams, right? So let's say you have 19 players all day, right? You just be adaptable to what you need, and usually your best player, who's a center midfielder, will play neutral for all the teams, and that's about it, right? Possession, and so, and another reason why this is so effective is because, right, let's say you go to work and the work is at the same location. Even though you go to the same place, there's still a lot of nuances, and there's still deviations, right? There's still changes, even though you're doing the same job. There's still things that are very different in your day to day. Same thing as this training routine. It's the same thing, but there's still a lot. It's still. I mean, I'm going back. I was doing these training sessions from 2008, and I remember them like they were yesterday. I miss them I miss them because they're just so much fun. So reach out with any questions, because it's so simple, and it's really going to help your team elevate their intensity, and if your practice intensity is higher than the other team's intensity during games, you're going to have a great season, because it's rare that you're going to lose. It's rare that you'll be playing at a higher intensity than the other team and still lose a game. So hopefully this helps. And like I said, reach out with any questions. All right, thank you.